played the cut, come back, do it for me one time. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Ed, and I am inside my home golf lab where I do a lot of my own product testing, working on my game. It is, it's your normal Midwestern garage golf lab. I've got a SkyTrak connected to my iPad, ready to go. But here's the problem. When you're using mats, such as I have, you tend to kind of get that skipping effect. You hit down, a little hit behind the ball, in front of the ball. Sometimes you can't really tell. And when you're using a simulator like I am, with a SkyTrak, you can still get good reading because you can still get a good feel for your ball flight, but that impact is a little bit off. So one thing you can do is you can do the towel drill behind it. But today, well, starting today, I'm going to be testing out a product from Divot Board. Now you guys have probably seen this product floating around your Instagram or your TikTok. It is basically a hitting divot board. Like you do it like a fitting where it's gonna pick up the bottom of your, let me just show you. Here it is. First impressions of the divot board here. So what we are looking at is, it's got a kind of a felt piecing to it right here. You've got your impact zone on it. You can see where the ball is supposed to go, but with this, you see my hand is going like this. Doesn't show anything, but if you hit down on your ball, using my nails there, you can see that's where the ball and the club meet, right? Well, not the ball goes there. This is where the club face meets. After you hit your shot, you just swipe back with your hand, and it's clear again. Hit behind the ball up here. Long divot, you get the idea. Swipe up. So in between each shot, you're supposed to be able to see, where your impact is, where your divot is. Now, I wanted to test this out with a hitting mat. I work a lot in my garage in the Midwest. I'm in Illinois, so I want to be able to practice as much as possible. So I wanted to see how this thing is going to hold up in here. Now, one little thing on here I noticed as well is you have these almost like cleats, almost like teeth marks on it right here. And you can kind of get a good feel right there how big they are. Each one's about ½ inch tall. And this is supposedly not going to move on a mat. So when we put it on that mat and we hit, it's supposed to stay in place. So here's what the plan is for this product review, okay? So today is day one of testing first impressions, seeing how it works, kind of getting a feel of what it does. I'm gonna hit a couple different clubs on there, see where it's going and see how it, how it reacts with the mat and whatnot. Day two is going to be a new day, but it's gonna be all wedges. I'm gonna work on just wedges, only hitting down on it. Those are the ones that really take a grind out of the mat. At home, you can see on my mat, through this video, you'll see there's a little, I already showed you, but there's a little, impact from where I was hitting all the time. Day three, we're gonna do our attacking irons, our 7, 8, 9, our scoring irons. Day four, we're gonna go ahead and do our longer irons. And then on day 5, at the end of the first week, we'll do our response, our initial feel of the product, what we think it is. We'll go over pricing and everything like that for you guys so you have an idea. We'll do a full week of testing. Divot Board says that they can withstand 1,000 to 3,000 adult shots before the top has to be replaced, and there are replacement pieces that we'll talk about at the end of the video. So that's enough for my first impressions, talking about what the plan is. Let's get it set up with the SkyTrak. Let's get over to the range and get to working with the divot board. Let's get those alignment sticks in there, kind of give ourselves better practice, keep it as straight as possible. So that one slightly behind the ball. You can see right here, air impact at an angle a little bit. So that one had a little bit of a cut on it, not much. It wasn't a bad shot, it was straight down the middle, but we can see we're pulling our club face all the way through a good, 8 inches we're dragging through. So let's swipe up. Right here, this is the first one with the 9 iron, hit way behind the ball. Here's our it ball, right here, right? We've impacted it 5 inches behind, so that's exactly why we're hitting a shorter shot. Erase that, let's get a couple more in here. We're still hitting behind the ball on it though. So we might get away with this on the course on some days, but other days we're not going to. We're hitting right behind the ball just a little bit, just a hair, so we're a little outside in when we come into it, but by the time we're getting the ball, we must be coming square, because you can see here at the end, one thing that's kind of getting in my head a little bit here with the gap wedge and the 9-iron has been the height of the board. So the board is an inch higher than I'm normally hitting off of my mat, getting used to hitting off of this divot board instead of hitting off of the mat itself, visually getting used to it, but I would think that practicing on something like this should make you a better player. So first impressions from day one, okay? So is the divot board showing me what the ball flight is doing matching to the SkyTrak? Yes. When that club face is wide open on here, it's matching what is on the SkyTrak. So that, that's a plus, that's what's going on. Negative, with the SkyTrak so far, the SkyTrak has to be way elevated above the mat I'm hitting on to compensate not only for the floor, but also the extra 1 inch or so of the divot board. Another con I'm seeing so far is you can already see a lot of wear right here from day one of just gap wedges and irons. I mean, we only hit about 30 shots total between trying to get the SkyTrak working and testing. How long is this gonna hold up? It says that it's gonna hold up for at least 1,000 shots. We'll see if it makes it through the week. All right, that is it for day one initial impressions of the divot board. Day two coming up next. So we're gonna do just wedges. So see you right back here in a minute. All right, we're back. Day two, it is now time for the wedge test with the divot board. So we're down, we're set up. We've got the SkyTrak hooked up to it so we can match our ball flight on the SkyTrak with what our divot pattern is on the divot board. See how it holds up now while we're grinding some wedges. We are going to do 60, 56, gap wedge, and then a pitching wedge. So we're gonna kind of work further away from the target as we go here. So hopefully we get some good readings and good feel in that. We'll see how the ball flight on the SkyTrak matches up to the divot pattern on the divot board. Everything's in place. Here we go. On there you can see that we came definitely a big open face on there, big cut, so we're not surprised that it did fade as much as it did on that. Face was closed a little bit more, not as bad, but I hit behind it so far that as I pulled my shot through, I was more square by the time I got to the impact, where on the 60, I was hitting it back over here with it open so much that it was more of a dramatic fade or cut. Seeing so far that the divot board, I mean, you're getting some ruffles back here. You can kind of see it popping up a little bit, and they're not going down as nicely as they did before, but they're also not spraying. So it's holding up so far with, clubs that are gonna take a big gouge out of a ball. Keep the test going. You can see that my impact was just behind the ball right here, and I had a little bit of a cut. I'm choking up on it a little bit. I'm playing for that cut now that I'm seeing that's my tendency today. And it was much better down the target line. That one was only 2 yards left of the target. We're making our solid impact right behind the yellow. Not terrible, not a bad chunk. Still open, but our face seems to be getting at least a little bit square. SkyTrak doesn't address face impact. It's not smart enough to do that. You need a GC quad for that, something that with more cameras. But SkyTrak, with this, giving you the feedback that you need to kind of figure out what you're doing with your shots. All right, that is it for the wedge test on the Divot Board. So what are we seeing so far? Divot Board matches what the SkyTrak says when you're using it. Any shot that I've had back here, way behind the ball, those duffs for sure, it's showing it. We're seeing on the SkyTrak, it's giving us a straight shot because the club face is there, but that's showing us that deception, that overconfidence that you get hitting off of a simulator, hitting off of a mat. And when you're inside in the winter months like I am, you kind of start to develop that habit of sweeping it and really taking the mat to your advantage. When you get out on that course, those first couple rounds on grass, you wonder why you don't hit it as well. That's why. Right here, the Divot Board holding up fairly nicely. You know, you can kind of see here the way the light hits it as best of my ability here. You can kind of see the wear pattern right here, right? You can see how where I'm making most of the impacts, you can visually see where it's going. On the front here, where it's not getting as many impacts, because that's the follow-through portion, I'm not sure if it's just lifting up, and this is where the club is first hitting it. It has the most power. Hard to say, but it is still laying down nicely off of the hitting mat on here. On that surface, the little teeth on the bottom are definitely gripping the mat. They're not, you know, the Divot Board's not flying all over the place. It's barely moving each time. I do have to adjust it between each shot to make sure that I'm in the right spot, especially because I'm using it with the simulator. I have to have the dot on the SkyTrak in the right spot, but you get the idea. It's making sense. It's working the way it's supposed to. So next step, next test is gonna be those attack irons. Day 3 test, we're gonna do 7, 8, 9, attacking those greens and seeing how those a little bit, longer clubs still take a good chunk out of the ball, those balls that you're going to hit a lot of on the range, and hopefully a lot on the course. See how it holds up on the Divot Board. Part 3, coming up next. Time for part 3 of the test. Now we're doing our scoring irons, right? We've done our wedges. Now we're moving over to those approach clubs, your 7, 8, 9 iron, to make sure that we're hitting into the green. These are clubs that are important to practice, but it's also important to hit these clubs correctly, right? A lot of fat shots, hitting off the mat tends to give you some problems here and there. So we've got Divot Board ready to go. We've got SkyTrak connected. Let's start the test. Fifth shot, clearly the best shot. Came still down a little on the outside of it, but it looks like it had a little bit of a little cut on it. But you can see instead of the other shots that were much fatter on this session, this one I came down right at the ball. Nice little divot pattern. Now, not exactly the striking that I want, but that's what practice is for, and that's what the Divot Board is giving us. It's giving us that instant feedback. 7 iron's done. We've now grabbed our 8 iron. We've adjusted the SkyTrak to the 150 yard. That's for me, my 8 iron shot. Everything's connected on the Divot Board, SkyTrak, and all that fun stuff. So let's keep this test going. 5 shots, the 8 iron. Let's go. Now we're starting to get to the clubs that I practice a little more comfortable with. First shot right out of the bag. Nice strike on there. Still a little bit outside, a little bit of a cut on it, so it's still going through on the target line, and absolute dart on that first one. Absolute dart. Alrighty, now we're on to the last part of our attack or our approach irons. We're on to our 9-iron. We went 7, 8, 9. Started off hitting everything fat. As we're adjusting through today's, warm up, we're using the feedback that I'm getting from the Divot Board. I'm seeing the fat shots, adjusting my swing, adjusting where I'm coming down, and I'm teaching myself. I'm learning how to hit a better strike. And you see on a couple of those where the strike was right on the yellow where the ball goes on the Divot Board. Much better on line, much better down the target line, and some absolute darts were getting thrown in there. Reminder, once again, mid-handicap, right? I'm gonna hit bad shots, I'm gonna hit fat shots, I'm gonna hit good shots. I'm trying to get better, and so far Divot Board is helping me get there. Now, let's get to the last part of the test on this 9-iron. That's, right here, 9-iron in the hands. Got it? Start the shots, 5 in a row, 140-yard target. Let's go. Much better face angle on that one. Getting a better strike again. We're starting to get our divots are starting now at the yellow and continuing on. Much better results, much better shot that time. Not surprised at all with this one. As soon as I came through on impact, I felt my wrist turn over. So you can see the divot is open, making a good strike at the ball, but I can feel that my hands turned over really early on that one. Not surprised that this one went to the left. Feedback, Divot Board matching what I'm seeing on the SkyTrak and what I'm feeling, right? So feels and reels, kind of putting it all together. Bad shot on the 9-iron, felt it, knew it right away, matched up on the SkyTrak, matched up on the Divot Board. Further behind the ball, so we're going to get a straighter shot on the SkyTrak on that one. Distance was right, but that's a fat shot. So if we're hitting off a tee, we would have been fine, but off of the ground, we probably would have lost about 20 yards. Okay, so we've cleared the board, right? We're done with that attack, with that approach shot of our 7, 8, 9-iron. Time for the last part of the test. It's gonna be on the, fourth day? Fourth day testing the Divot Board. It's going to be our longer irons. Now again, as you've been watching through this video, not a great player by any means, trying to get better. So the 4, 5, and 6 iron, they're gonna be misses. They're probably not all gonna hit the green, but this is what the practice is for. This is what the Divot Board is gonna help us improve that striking ability. So let's move on to the 4th day of the test. I think it's the 4th day. Initial impression, wedge, approach. Yeah, day 4, coming up. Here we go. It is the last part of this test. We're now at our 4, 5, and 6 iron. I'm not great with these clubs. Definitely not gonna lie. Kind of stink at them, but we're gonna do our best here. The Divot Board is set up. We've got our alignment sticks to keep us as straight as possible. SkyTrak is connected. We've got our green at 190 yards since we're starting with a 4-iron, and then we will go back from there. So 4, 5, and then finish with the 6-iron on this test. Same as always, keep it all consistent. 5 shots per club, just to really see the Divot Board is matching on the SkyTrak, if it's picking everything up together. And then at the end, we will wrap up our opinion on a full week of testing with the Divot Board. Decent little shot on it. The second shot, again, we're behind here a good, 4 or 5 inches. Little of an outside shot, outside in. Must have flipped the head around on this one because it had a little bit of a draw on it. Best shot I've hit so far. This is the first time I've seen this. So my impact on the Divot Board right here, right on the 5-iron, it looks like I hit it actually quite square. Kind of hard to tell, not really sure, but that shot was straight down the line for the most part. Good distance. A little bit of a shorter divot. I probably should have continued my club face longer, but that was actually a decent shot with the 4-iron. I had good speed on it. I felt like I connected it well, but Divot Board doesn't lie. Look how I got at least a 50 degree, 45 to 50 degree angle on there. Pushed it, to the right. You saw on that shot, went straight to the right. Wasn't a good flight, but I'm not terribly upset with it. Expectations are that I'm gonna miss, you know, more than I actually did on this one. That same push to the right. I think we're getting used to at this point of the video that everything's gonna go to the right, even if we've been doing it for 4 days. That's where the shot shape is. So, outside in, decent strike. Really loving this thing. One, how quick the feedback is to seeing where you hit your shot. I mean, before I even look at the SkyTrak, I can see, you know, I have an idea where the ball flight's gonna go. So I had the feels with my hands, feels with experience on hitting balls, obviously in the SkyTrak for well over a year. But the feedback on here has been fantastic. Second thing that I need to talk about again are these little grips, these little cleats, these teeth marks right here. This thing is staying really in a great spot on the mat. It's not moving all over the place. It's not flying up in the air. I'm a really big fan of that, but we'll go over all that in the wrap up. I got away with one on this one. You can see how thin I hit that shot. Hit it, you know, right even with the ball. I didn't hit it fat at all. Stayed right on the target line, so at least I got lucky and I hit it square. But I knew it wasn't a good shot. SkyTrak luckily showed me. Turned out okay. Super thin. Did not even take a divot. Completely picked the ball. And you can see on this one, it is low. It is flying right to the right. Picked it. Nothing. Not even a little nothing there. Really bad contact, really bad shot. Stats don't lie. Decent contact, really far behind the ball again. You can really see on my divot pattern, I mean, my club face came out in, way out this way. Distance was right on the mark there. Felt a good strike at that time. I hit just behind the ball here a little bit. It was a good strike, but club face just needs to get more squared impact. We're playing that cut, I need to, you know, compensate a little bit. I think I'll do that on the last shot here to see kind of how it results, but there you go. Played the cut. Come back, do it for me one time. What a way to close out the video on the divot board. That might have gone in. That might have been a hole-in-one. We don't know. SkyTrak doesn't do that. But we played for the cut at the end. Last shot. Why not play for it? Hit the ball fat. So it was on a tee, we would have been fine. But we actually struck for the first time, I think, in this entire video, inside the yellow. Both lines are guided through the ball. Actually struck inside of it, a little bit fat. Played for the cut, came right through the ball. Nice long divot, and we had ourselves a hell of a shot. Let's talk final impressions on our 1 week of testing the divot board. So right out of the box, or bag that it came in, I should say, already assembled. I mean, there was nothing I needed to do. There was no adhesion that I had to put onto the divot board. It came in good shape. I mean, it is a thick, solid design. It's about 1 inch thick or so. It's about as high as my mats are. So one thing that I would like to do, you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna do it, is instead of having to rely on the sticky teeth here that I talked about earlier in the video that I'll mention again in a second, I think I'm going to cut out the old part of my mat where all my impacts were in the past, and I'm going to drop this right down in there so it's a nice level surface, because I am a big fan of this product right now. The teeth, as I just mentioned a second ago, these cleat marks, they are rubber. They are not coming off. They are part of the mold. They're not going anywhere. If you were to use this outside on the range, on the grass area, say you want to hit off the grass, but maybe the grass is just completely chunked and you can have it connected to your bag with this clip. right here if you wanted to. You know, we've all been to the range before where it's just terrible divots. People don't know how to hit balls in a line. You really don't have a good surface to hit off of. This right here is going to give you that feedback, and it's, you know, easy to pick up and take with you. Put it in your bag, throw it in your car. Easy right there. The scales or the sequins, however you want to call it, you know, they're showing some wear. You can see, you know, over the course of the week, you can see where the impacts are coming from. Obviously way back here, not as bad because I haven't hit anything that fat, luckily, but right over here where I tend to hit it the most, it is scaling up a little bit. And then when you get down towards the bottom here where your divot's continuing, it's not as bad because, you know, the divots are going to be pushed up from the row in front of it. You're not getting that, you know, hard impact from any of the wedges or anything like that. Ease of use, super easy. I mean, it doesn't get any easier to figure out. You have to just swipe it like that. You keep the metal clip to the back. You know, you see how the way the sequins work. It's not hard. The feedback on this thing is incredible. You know exactly what your shot is going to do before you even look at a simulator or look up to see where the ball is going. You can see your ball flight on here. I am not a coach, teacher, nowhere near qualified for that. I'm just a normal home golfer, as you can see in my home golf lab. I mean, I've got my kid's bike over there in the corner out of the way. It doesn't get more real than this, right? It works. It's a solid product. I'm a big fan of it. The link is down below if you want to go to the website here for Divot Board to try it out for yourself. I think they're about $160 or so for this product, which at first when I saw it, I thought, that's a bit steep. After using it for the week and seeing the feedback you're going to get from this thing, seeing the durability that it's, I mean, it's not cracking, it's not breaking. It's well made, it's a good product. For the replacement pads, this is supposed to last between 1,000 to 3,000 shots based off of an 80-mile-an-hour swing. If you take huge, nasty divots, maybe it'll be a little bit less. If you're more of a picker, as you saw a couple of the shots in this video, I picked it more than of a divot. It'll probably get closer to that 3,000 threshold for you. I believe the replacement pads themselves are right around $60 or so. If you do the math though, if you're hitting, you know, between 1,000 to 3,000 shots, you know, I don't know what it works out to per shot, but it's pretty darn cheap. Like a penny. I don't know. I'm not a math guy. I have a GPS watch. It does it for me. So that's it. That's it. That is my review on the Divot Board in association with the SkyTrak. So if you guys have a SkyTrak and you're looking to get more feedback on your shots, definitely look into the Divot Board. It'll be worth your money. It'll be worth your time. It's a good product. Big fan. Speaking of fan, if you guys liked this video, if this helped you out and you learned a little bit of something with the Divot Board and how it works, go ahead and hit the subscribe train right now. I appreciate it. It, you know, helps grow this channel. Give me a like. It does help kind of bolster up the views when people are looking for a Divot Board for themselves. I appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, guys, keep grinding.